It starts so innocently. You're 13 years old, you're on your parents' laptop, and you get curious one day. You type in on Google, boobs. Oh my god, you're suddenly hit with just these glorious pictures of endless boobs. Wow, what an incredible discovery I've just made. I have endless access to boobs whenever I want. And then as the years go on, it becomes more and more of a problem. You're watching more and more of it. You're becoming desensitized to just seeing a picture of boobs. And the still image of boobs, which used to literally blow your mind, no longer really makes you feel much of anything. So you keep digging to find the perfect video, the perfect image, the perfect scenario. You're on page 14 of Pornhub search. And as time continues on, you find yourself watching more and more weird fringe shit, because the more vanilla stuff that you used to look at no longer does that much for you. You start going down some really dark and weird rabbit holes, and you always end up feeling weirdly guilty after you're done. Does this sound like you? Because that sure as fuck was me. The good news for you is that 2 years ago, I made the pledge to never watch porn ever again, and I've managed to succeed in that. I've not watched a split second of porn for 2 years now. I never even think about it. It's not a challenge to me at all. At no point in human history did the average man have this much access to sex like that. Think about that seriously for a minute. We went through millions upon millions of years of evolution, and at no point during that have we ever had this much free access to sex. Not even kings of old who have conquered the world would have this much access to sex. When you look at it that way, you start to see why watching porn could prove to be incredibly problematic for us. And having this much free access to it whenever we want, the exact scenario that we fantasize about, the exact girl. It's like build a bitch workshop. Think about what that will do to your brain, because whether you like to admit it or not, as men, a massive driving factor for us in doing anything, in getting out of bed, is because we want access to the sexual market. We want to become a man who is worthy of having sex with beautiful feminine women. Now, when you put it that way, if you're essentially tricking your brain every single day into thinking that you have access to every single fucking woman in the world that you could possibly want, you are the Don. You could attract any of these women, because that's what you're doing. Hopefully when you're watching porn, you're like displacing yourself into the position of the man who is having sex with the woman, unless you're into some like cuckolding shit, I don't know, but that's how I see it anyway. So you're tricking your brain into thinking, I am banging this chick, I'm banging my 10 out of 10 girl. That can't be good. Do you ever wonder why you struggle to make like tangible progress in your life? This might be a factor. I'm not saying it's everything, it's certainly not everything, and I think a lot of people will convince you that if you just fucking go on nofap and get to day 90, then you'll become a fucking demigod. I think that's complete bullshit, and I think they're probably selling you guys a bit of a dream there. But it is important. It's important to keep and save that masculine drive. Don't trick your brain into thinking that you've already done the hard work. And it's also very important because porn really destroys your relationship with women. It destroys how you view women. When you look a woman in the eyes as someone who watches porn, they can tell that you watch porn. I don't know how, they just know. How did I stop? Hopefully you're similar, but as someone who responds to logic, the way I stopped is by simply just understanding this. If I ever wanted to achieve what I want to achieve in my life, I have to stop watching porn. I have to. And I'd have to begin using sex as a primary motivator for me to get out of bed and do what needs to be done. And also understanding how porn demolishes your relationship with women. You start seeing women as sex objects. If you're anything like me, I really fucking love women, guys. I love women so much. Feminine energy is fucking magical. But the thing is, when I was watching porn, I never could tap into that. I never looked at a woman and just felt her feminine energy. I didn't ever crave it. This is what you're missing out on if you're watching porn. You also need to understand how evil the industry is, the porn industry. It is fucking brutally evil. It's so evil that I don't want to talk about it in this video because it genuinely upsets me. I don't want to contribute to that shit, so I don't engage in it ever. Stopping is simply just understanding those three things. One, if I want to achieve what I want to achieve in my life, which I do, I think about it all the time. I think about the cars I want. I think about the beautiful women that I want. I think about the lifestyle of freedom I want. I think about that all the time. The choice is simple. The choice is binary. Yes or no. Do you want those things? Yes or not? If the answer is yes, you need to stop watching porn. It's as simple as that. There's no ifs or buts. There's no, oh, well, it's okay sometimes. No, that doesn't align with the character that I am molding myself into. James Bond doesn't watch porn. Anyone successful that you look up to, they're not watching porn. They're actually banging the chicks. They're having sex with the women that you fantasize about. And how they do that is the short-term sacrifice of not tricking their brains into thinking that they're getting that level of success with women when they're not. Understanding too, that it will destroy your relationship with women. You won't be able to hold eye contact. You will never attract the beautiful feminine girl into your life. You might get a wife, but it won't be a healthy relationship. If it's an unhealthy relationship, your kids are going to have a hard time growing up. And then also just understanding how evil the porn industry is, which if you want to do your own research, I suggest you do, because it'll actually help you get over your addiction. Now, an important caveat to this is that I don't look at myself when I used to watch porn and think, oh, what a fucking idiot retard. I actually just stopped doing it, and I wasn't judgmental about it. I've never beaten myself off. I've never beaten myself up for example, having a wank. Sometimes I still masturbate now. The difference is, I don't watch porn. And I don't revolve my personality around being someone who is trying to stop watching porn. I don't assign the label to myself, I'm on nofap. I don't track my nofap streak. There's a really good South Park episode which goes on about alcoholism. And essentially it's like, if you label yourself as an alcoholic and you revolve your entire personality around being an alcoholic, you're going to all the Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, you're telling everyone, yeah, I'm a former alcoholic. You are fighting an uphill battle, and it doesn't have to be that way. Don't even associate with someone who is trying to stop watching porn. Just be someone who doesn't watch porn. Simple as that. And it also really helps to subscribe to a higher than self morality. A very easy way to tap into this is just believing in God. If you believe that there is a higher being watching over you, and even if your friends aren't watching, even if your family aren't watching, someone is always watching you, and they're judging you based upon what you do. And they want the best for you. They want you to make the best decisions. You're just less likely to make bad decisions. And to me, there's no downside to believing in that. Even if you might think it's silly, oh, it's an imaginary man in the sky. And I'm not telling you to subscribe to any specific religion, but just believe in a higher than self being who's watching you all the time. There's no downside. You'll literally just be a better man for it, and that's it. I've never talked about how I used to watch porn, but I really hope this helps some of you, because I actually did an Instagram Q&A and there was a lot more people than I thought who were still really struggling with this. So my primary advice is understanding. If you understand why something is so terribly destructive for you and you don't allow your ego to justify it, then you're left with no other choice than either quitting or identifying as someone who is self-destructing. And we don't want to identify as someone like that, so it makes it a lot easier. If you want something better to do with your time other than watching porn, I teach over 450 students how to make money online through video editing. Check the first link in the description. Take care, boys. Oh!